Yo, oh, 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 ah, ah, oh, oh, wait, whoa, hey, oh, oh, guys, what's up? It's Blackheart here, and welcome to a new video. But what am I looking here? It is not the usual Tekken, isn't it? So, I wanted to make this quick video because I had the chance in this day to try out Soul Calibur 6. And I gotta thank Crystal Boy for this, dear friend of mine that I had the pleasure of meeting thanks to Tekken, and he introduced me to Soul Calibur because he liked the game a lot. I never tried Soul Calibur, so it was my first occasion of trying it. I know that it's a dead game, but I wanted to give you still my opinions on the game after a long time. You know, the game has been alive for a long and dead for long. But I still, not gonna lie, I still enjoyed playing this game a lot. Not gonna lie, like things that I see in Soul Calibur are very interesting, and I wanted to give you my roundup considering all the experience I have on Tekken, of course, because I think that this game has a lot of mechanics uh, that come from Tekken, and I wanted to give you now my opinions on why. Sorry, there was no game audio. On why I think this is the case, of why I think there is so much in common between Tekken 8 and Soul Calibur 6, and why maybe that's the case, why Soul Calibur 6 died, maybe, I don't know. So when I started playing this game, I chose Aswell. That's the first thing you need to know. I've seen some characters, but I found Aswell kind of interesting to play. They tell me he's not particularly strong because basically the problem with Aswell is that basically up close, especially if you're not in the right stance, he's very slow. For example, it's fast. Usually in Soul Calibur, from what I understand, the fastest attacks are 12 frames. The fastest attacks, but as well as a 10 frame move. 10 frame. Let's see, like a jab. Okay, and I don't want to teach you Soul Calibur now because I still have a lot to learn, of course. But the thing is that this move comes out this fast only if as well as this stance activated, because basically he functions around switching between different movesets, different weapons. So if you press this, he has the axe. If you press this, he has the Leviathan, and if he has this, he has the swords. So if you are in another weapon stance and you press this input, it comes out way slower. That's the problem. It doesn't come out at 10 frames. It comes out at 18 frames. So way slower if you're not in the correct weapon stance. And I find it so cool that he has all of these move lists with different things and so on. So the game is very fun. I think that though it's very matchup dependent. Like you need to know a lot about the characters. Like in Tekken, I think you can still steal some rounds even with your character alone if your opponent doesn't know the matchup. Here instead there are, I think, much more interactions in a match, in a round between players, in which basically you have to defend a lot. And in this game, defending is actually very, very important, I think, and very skill based. Like it's not easy to defend in this game. For example, you know there's a lot of strings in this game, but basically you can parry, for example. But knowing all with this parry here, but knowing all the timings and so on, it's kind of different from Tekken. So as an experience overall, it was very interesting. And I think that it's a testament of how much Tekken 8 took from Soul Calibur in some things, in my opinion. For example, this Soul Calibur, I don't know if other Soul Caliburs have it too, but this Soul Calibur has a mechanic based around meter, as Tekken. And here we go. Does it remind you something? With a single input, with a single button, basically, you activate a mode that powers you up. Not only that, but this mode also, as you can see, okay, knocks you back. So not only you are powered up, Okay, so basically a get out of me tool that powers you up, and a lot of every character gets new things that normally doesn't have that make them stronger. I wonder what this is. I wonder what this reminds me of. The thing is that at least in this game, the power ups last way slower, like way faster. They deplete way faster than Tekken. That's the main problem, I think, with Tekken 8. For example, in this game, but this game has the particularity that you can build up two of these things, two of these charge ups. Potentially, you can use two of these charge ups, okay? And there's also the rage art mechanic, of course, as Tekken, you know? That it was very interesting to see. And not like Tekken, in this game you can actually stab those fucking things and punish properly. And I liked it so much. I like it so much. Like the fact that they're very steppable. And some of them also punishable on block. So that's very interesting. So yeah, you have the rage art in this game, as Tekken. You have the heat mechanic. Okay, and you also have an offensive mechanic with it. It's called the Soul Charge, if I don't remember, if I'm not mistaken. You also have an offensive one that reminds me, of course, of Heat Burst in Tekken 8. You know, Heat Burst. That is the offensive way to get into the power up state. And you know, all of these things, now that I'm seeing Soul Calibur, I can understand where they took inspiration from. Also, we've seen the rage art mechanics. Movement is very much simpler, I think, than Tekken 8. It's much more straightforward, also with backdash and so on. But stepping is very interesting in this game, and you have, of course, as Tekken, every character has its own specific moves in steps, because steps here are very important. Like, if you think about it, not even in Tekken, all characters have moves from step. It's not like it's something that you have always. Some characters are, I think there are some characters with no move on steps, right? I think there might be some. I'm not having one example right now. Let's say, for example, that Victor doesn't have a very good move on sidestep. It's sidestep 1+2, but it's not like super useful, for example. Here in this game, every character has very important moves in steps incorporated. So I thought this was very cool. Also, almost every character has some stance mix-ups. That what reminds us of Tekken 8 again. For example, in the case of Aswell, it is very stance-based. You know, he has all of these stances. Of course, I chose this character because, look at this, by the way. I chose this character because he has long, full-screen projectiles, basically, as you can see. So yeah, that's why I chose him, of course. So he has all of the characters have all of these stances. Okay, all of these stance mix-ups. For example, in the case of Aswell, you see. For example, I don't know, this into mix-up, or I don't know, this into mix-up again. So all of this is very interesting to see. Like, from a Tekken player perspective that comes into this game, I didn't have much trouble because I see a lot of these elements in Tekken 8. It's very weird. Also, it's very fun that a lot of animations are very, very similar to Tekken 8. Like, for example, look at this animation. The heat animation. It's the crumple stun. It's the crumple stun that I also see in Tekken. Because, of course, the animators are almost the same, I think. Or like the team behind these games are very similar. So, some animations are very similar. Like, for example, look at this animation. You see? The animation, the downed animation on this move. That it reminds me, of course, of the Tekken 8 animation when you die, you know, or when you have a guaranteed follow-up, and that's the same here. It's so cool to see, you know, these things coming from Tekken that are so similar to Soul Calibur, and I don't know, I had a blast playing this game in these days. So I wanted to give you my perspective on why I think Tekken 8 has the same problems maybe that made Soul Calibur die, even though I think in Soul Calibur it's much more understandable because it lasts less, and the game overall is so balanced. I think that these things don't shine out. The problem is that in this charge up state, the characters that are defensive are more defensive. The characters that are offensive are more offensive. So these power-ups basically pick the best of the characters and make them better on those aspects. In Tekken 8, every character, even the defensive ones, are the same in it. They are all completely broken. So what's the point? You know, if even the defensive characters in Tekken 8 are offensive in it. Look at Asuka, for example. Asuka is a defensive-based around character, but when she's in it, she becomes as predominant, as offensive as Dragunov. It's unbelievable. That's why, like, they took a particularly interesting mechanic from Soul Calibur, you know, that could have been interesting in Tekken 8, and made it so much worse. So much worse. So, nothing. I wanted to give you my quick intake on this game. I'm having a lot of fun in playing it while waiting for the Tekken patch. I don't know if I'll keep playing it, of course, because it's basically dead. But if you want to see me play sometimes this game on stream, I'll do it if you want. Because I'm having a blast playing it. I'm having really a blast. So, if you want to help me understand how this game works or help me maybe learn this game from scratch, let me know in the comments, okay? So I don't know, guys. I wanted just to give you this quick video before we have the 3rd of June patch with Tekken 8. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. See you soon again. Bye.